Welcome, as always, to another edition of 3 the Hard Way coming at you. You know how we do. And, of course, let me introduce the fellas. The influencer is what I call him because he influences so many lives out there. It's my guy, Mr. Hot Rod, Coach Rodney Young. What it is, Hot Rod?
What is going on through the Hard Way Nation? What is going on through the Hard Way Nation on the TikTok channels? Y'all know who this is. It's your friendly neighborhood coach. Y'all know. Y'all may not like what I say, but guess what? Y'all will listen.
Stand up at attention. You better get up. You better stand up at attention. The captain of 3 the Hard Way is my guy, Mr. Terrence Austin T. How you feel today, man?
What's happening? What's happening, everyone out there? 3 the Hard Way Nation. Let's get this thing going. Underway. Let's get this ship underway. What's happening?
Well, as always, man, we always talk about this. Like, we are a national podcast, and if those of you who are not new to our station, by the way, hit that like and subscribe button. We cover a variety of topics, but we're Cleveland homeboys. You know, we're from Warrensville Heights, so, you know, there are times, you know, where our emotions get the best of us, you know, and we have to tackle some of these Cleveland issues that we hear coming out of training camp, Guardians, you know, seasons, Cleveland Cavaliers, stuff like that. So I would just say that we are heavily weighted towards Cleveland topics. And so there's one topic that has been coming out of Cleveland Browns training camp, man. They've got this four-headed monster quarterback situation. If you want to throw Deshaun Watson in there, you can. But we're talking about healthy bodies right now. There's a lot of stuff coming out about Shedeur. Is he injured? Is there a shoulder issue? Who should get the reps? Who should be number 1? Who should be number 2? You know, and I have said, and I've gotten on my soapbox plenty of times when it comes to this stuff, man. Protect your heart when it comes to these Cleveland Browns because you never know. You never know. And then my guy Hot Rod said last week, it is the Browns. And so I came back at you, Hot Rod, and I was like, what does that mean, man? That it's the Browns. Well, we're going to dissect this thing today. We're going to talk about the whole quarterback situation, and I'm going to sit back and because you guys are ingrained in it. Like, I keep an eye on the Browns, but I don't invest in the Browns. Of course, I want to see them do well. I want it for the city of Cleveland. I love that franchise, but just to, you know, protect my emotions and my heart, I can't invest like I used to. So this whole quarterback situation, man, give me your thoughts about what's going on, how you feel about this whole situation.
Go ahead, Rod.
So this whole situation to me is nothing but a farce. It's a comedy because they're trying to make the people in the city of Cleveland believe that this is actually a quarterback competition. It is not a quarterback competition. Okay, you have Gabriel, you have Pickett, you've got Joe Flacco, and you have the favorite in Cleveland, which is Shedeur Sanders. But what I heard and what I have been reading and keeping up on, so Kenny Pickett went down with a hamstring injury, so that left Gabriel, it left Flacco, and it left Shedeur. Well, coming to find out on I think it was Thursday, Shedeur went with the first team. Well, he lit it up, okay? Then all of a sudden, Friday, he has a shoulder injury. But from the people who I've been listening to and the people who have been reporting, who were boots on the ground, they were talking about he was never with the trainers. He had never been doing any kind of rehab work on the sideline. So what am I supposed to believe? Am I truly supposed to believe that this is going to be a quarterback, competition? No, it's not. Listen, the people in the city of Cleveland want Joe Flacco and they want Shedeur Sanders. But Kevin Stefanski and his all-time smart group is trying to push Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel down our throats. Stop doing it. Dylan Gabriel is just as big as Baker Mayfield, all right? He's about 2 inches taller than Emmanuel Lewis, okay? So he's not going to be able to see over the defenses, okay? Kenny Pickett was released by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And although I'm not a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. Mike Tomlin got rid of you, you're no good. So what makes you think that his career, because he sat behind the starting quarterback in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, he sat behind him. Now all of a sudden he's some great type of quarterback. It's a farce. It's a sham. They can't even have press conferences and be on the same page. Andrew Berry saying one thing, Kevin Stefanski saying something else. Then Jimmy Haslam comes out and dribbles out of his mouth. Who are we supposed to believe? So what I'm saying is, this is not a quarterback race. It is not. And so I'm waiting on preseason, because that's when we'll see. If Shedeur Sanders does not get reps during the preseason, then we know that they had already preconceived this. We know that they did not pick Shedeur Sanders. It is people around Berea and it's people in Cleveland that are saying Shedeur Sanders is better than Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett right now. But go ahead.
No. Here's what I'm going to say, because I think you hit the nail dead on the head. And before T goes, like, I think you're right. Shedeur has to get the reps, but he's got to get the right reps. Like, you can't stick him with the third team every preseason game. Like, at some point, he's got to get some run with the first string.
Right.
Exactly.
So, you know, and I'll end it up like this. If Shedeur runs with the first team in the preseason, and he or the joint practices that they're going to be doing, that's another one. If he stinks up the joint, then I'm fine with that. I am. But at least give the young man an opportunity to stink up the joint. You're not even doing that. And then you're sitting on this first round pick for some strange reason, thinking that Arch Manning is going to pick your squad. Once again, I'm going to say that is the Cleveland Browns. Go ahead, T.
Well, let me say this. Unlike L Train, I'm fully invested with the Browns, okay? I'm fully invested with it.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
I haven't learned. Yeah, I haven't learned my lesson yet. Rod, I hear everything you're saying, okay? I hear everything you're saying. However, what is scary for me, let's say if Shedeur does win the starting job, because I want Flacco under center game one, okay? Because we're going up against the Bengals. We're going up against Joe Burrow and that crew, all right? So, again, you all have heard me say I want the best quarterback under center, you know, in the very beginning. And I think right now it's, you know, Joe Flacco. I think it's Joe, okay?
Right.
However, I see what you're saying, and I don't understand why the Browns are, you know, playing the way that they are. But again, like you said, at the end of the day, they are the Cleveland Browns, the team that's been breaking my heart since Brian Sipe, okay? So that I'm dating myself with that. Also, too, I just want to touch on, because you said everything about the quarterback. I didn't know this kid, this Michael Woods kid, and I've seen a little bit of film of him. Man, that kid has some promise, okay, at the wide receiver, you know, position. So I'm excited about what I've seen, you know, coming from him and what I'm hearing from him. He's got something to prove. So my prayer is that that momentum will stay. But getting back to, you know, the conversation at hand with the Browns and what they're doing with their starters and this and that, you know, I think Joe Flacco should be under center, you know, week one. Again, against the Bengals, that's a tough opponent. You know, they signed their, you know, Hendrickson or whomever, and then their number one pick was a defensive guy. So they're locked in, they're ready. They want to start the season a little bit different from what they have done in the past. You know, in the past, they lose the first 2, 3, 4 games. I think they're coming, you know, from a different way now this time. So again, get things right, Cleveland, because guess what? From tomorrow, I think this NFL season is just 4 weeks away from, you know, tomorrow. So it's here. The season is here. So come on, Browns, get it right, get it going. Stop playing around. Let's go. Let us stop being the laughing stock of the nation and play some football.
Exactly.
That's my take.
Yeah, I feel bad, man, because, I mean, you know, T, we lived next door to each other for years.
Yeah,
and
grew up.
Our families, man, were invested in the Browns.
Right.
Like that was, and Hot Rod, I'm sure your family was too. We just didn't have the luxury to all live next door to each other. But I know Sundays were pretty animated in all of our homes when it came to these Cleveland Browns, you know. Yeah. And I hate the words coming off my tongue in terms of not being invested with the Browns, because I've always been. But it is these moments, gentlemen. It is these moments when you have purposeful stupidity is what I call it. Because
that's a good phrase. That's a good phrase.
if you have a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who is the promise of your franchise, he is a glimpse into what your future could be, coming off of a scrimmage situation, whatever it was, and he was lighting it up. And if there is no legitimate injury,
right,
no legitimate injury, and you
Don't throw
take
it
the
out there.
road, and
Don't throw
you
that out
take the
there.
road that the Cleveland Browns are taking, it is hard for me that a Cleveland fan that is hungry for a championship for that franchise, like, I can't be the only one hungry in this. Like, they have to be hungry in this as well. And when you show that you have purposeful stupidity, it's just hard for me to stay on board with you, man. That's just kind of where my heart lies with this franchise. And again, I'm going to watch.
I haven't learned my lesson yet. I haven't.
It's just,
no, I mean,
I would.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rod. Go ahead.
It heart, just like you said, our hearts are in this organization. T talking Brian Sipe. I was there for Red Right 88. I was a kid for when Mike Davis intercepted the ball in the end zone. Okay, we were there for the drive, and we were there for the fumble.
We
were there. We were there for that. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, we're vested into the Cleveland Browns. The problem is the Browns are not invested into the fans in the city, because they understand that they're starving, but then they still do ignorant stuff because the fan base here, unfortunately, accepts mediocrity. They accept it. Like the Cavaliers going to, getting in the playoffs and then getting smoked. Now they out here, that was a great season. No, it wasn't. Herm Edwards says you play to win the game.
Yeah.
Okay? Every time these teams go out, when the Browns go out, or these 32 teams go out and play, they're trying to get to one goal, which is the Super Bowl. But it always feels like with us, with the Cleveland Browns, their one goal is just to try to win more than 4 games. Okay? And that's a great season. That's mediocrity. Okay? And what I'm saying is, Jimmy Haslam and this group, including Barry and Stefanski, thinks that this fan base is ignorant. And so they feel like because they know football that they can just say anything to people. But right now, you got 4 quarterbacks, okay, and you got to decide before the season, too. The dilemma is what they're going to do with the 2 rookies. And so if they can limit Shedeur's reps, now they can come out and honestly say, well, he hasn't had enough reps up under his belt to be able to qualify him to, what I'm saying? They're going to say something dumb like that, so that
try to justify.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they're setting up, because they want to push the bootleg Baker Mayfield. That's what they want to do. And no shot to Dillon Gabriel. I'm sure he's a fine quarterback. I'm sure he is. But the dude is 5'0", 100 and nothing. Okay? You got DeJuan Jones, who's 6'9" outside, 350 pounds. Dillon, he can't see over him. Okay? So why would, and then you're trying to push this on us. Don't do it. We know that Shedeur Sanders is the better quarterback of the rookies. Let's just quit playing games.
Yeah, here's my question. Go ahead, T. Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned DeJuan Jones, because they say he's making that transition, from the right side to the left side, correct?
Yes.
And they say he's looking good. Yeah, they say he's looking
because
good, man.
He's a true
ready,
left tackle.
He's
a true left tackle,
too, man. He's a giant.
To me, and I'm sorry, yes, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I'm going to say this. He is the T.J. Watt stopper. That's who he is. Every time DeJuan Jones goes up against Mr. Watt in Pittsburgh, he smothers him, okay? The deal with DeJuan Jones is he's just got to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, you got DeJuan Jones on one side, Jack Conklin on the other side. This will probably be Jack Conklin's last year, okay? They're going to have a decent line. They just got to figure out their running back and their quarterback situation, okay? But yes, the Browns are trying to be the same old Browns. And I can't stand it because I love my Browns. I love them.
Yeah. Yeah, talk to me, fellas, when it comes to this stuff. I focus on, and I was, going back and forth with my brother this morning, texting, I focus on Kevin Stefanski. Do you think this is a situation where Kevin Stefanski just lacks power within the organization, or is it a level of capitulation for Kevin Stefanski? Or do you think he's part of the problem where he's just on board with all the shenanigans that's going on with this quarterback battle?
L Train, I think he lacks power because the guy knows football, okay?
Yeah.
And he can coach and he's brilliant. So I think it's some outside forces that are eating at him.
Okay.
I really do. And just like, I don't know if Rod heard earlier this week, they were kind of throwing the narrative out there of Nick Saban and his relationship with our owner.
I heard that.
And and then their ties to the Manning family and this and that. So that was kind of dribbling out there a little bit as well, too, okay? Which, hey, as the owner, you got to coach and play, okay? And then, you're kind of feeding into this narrative of possible Nick Saban, coming to Cleveland and your relationship with him and the relationship with the Manning family. So I just think that, Stefanski just lacks the power, man. Unfortunately, because the guy knows football and he's smart.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna go. Let me attack the elephant in the room when it comes to Nick Saban. Nick Saban was a horrible NFL coach. Horrible. He went to Miami and then he bailed out. Okay, now he's one of the greatest college coaches in history.
College coaches,
okay,
right.
But he was a horrific NFL coach. All right,
it's like Rick Pitino wasn't
in basketball,
exactly. NBA coach.
Just like Urban Meyer. As much as I love Urban Meyer, Urban Meyer was a horrible NFL coach. Okay, Nick Saban is pushing 80. He's not coming back to the NFL. That's not happening. Okay. I understand that Jimmy Haslam has a relationship with the Mannings, but why do I have to keep reiterating this? This is the same family that said when Eli came out, Eli is not going to the San Diego Chargers. This is the same family, guys. Okay? So what makes you think that if it's time for Arch to come out and he's headed to Cleveland, that he wants to go to Cleveland? I
think it's wishful thinking.
Right. I don't care how much money Jimmy Haslam has. He can't buy the Manning family. They got just as much money as he does. Okay? So you can't buy that. All right? My thing is, and then if you're sitting and you're waiting on Arch or whomever, so you're just going to throw this season away. That's basically what you're saying. Because you're saying you don't have the quarterback that you desire on your sidelines right now, which I think is a joke because I think he does. He just doesn't, Stefanski just doesn't want to invest the time in him because that wasn't his pick, okay? Right. Kevin is a brilliant offensive mind, but he's also petty. He's very petty. And what I mean by that is certain things that he's done over the past couple of years have shown you that. They brought in an offensive coordinator last year, right? How did that offense look? It looked horrible. Kevin didn't try to help that. He wanted that to happen so that he can re-implement his offense. He didn't want Joe Flacco, okay? Let me rephrase that. Andrew Berry didn't want Joe Flacco because they were protecting Deshaun Watson's psyche.
Deshaun Watson.
Okay? Well, now you got him back a couple years later, okay? They're going to see if they can get that same magic. Kevin Stefanski, I don't think has the power in that organization. I think Andrew Berry does. I think him and the group and Kevin just goes along to get along. Okay. But this is a make.
And I question a little bit of Andrew Berry's power too, Rod. I question that a little bit.
But then you're talking about D. Podesta, who D. Podesta in the front office is a baseball guy. I still don't understand.
Right. Who's in San Diego all week long, all year long.
How in the world
what really is his purpose?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
he's not even in Cleveland.
Where are all the football minds? This is what I'm looking for. The football minds. Because now you got Quinshawn Junkins, who is dealing with legal issues. Okay. You have Devin Bush, who's dealing with legal issues. And as I said before, when it comes to Junkins, do you wish you had Nick Chubb back? Do you wish you had Nick Chubb in the building? See, these are the unintelligent type things that they're doing. And I know I'm ranting, y'all, but I got to get this stuff off my chest because I don't seem to understand the lack of intelligence within an organization. And that's what the Browns are lacking intelligence and wondering why they're stinking up the joint. They got a Hall of Fame defensive end that ran roughshod talking about he wanted to get traded, and the best way you felt to solve that problem was to throw in $40 million. Come on, okay? I want my Cleveland Browns to win. I want them to win. Yeah.
I foresaw this years ago, man. I was never really high on the Kevin Stefanski choice for head coach because he is a brilliant offensive mind. He came from my Minnesota Vikings, so he's a brilliant offensive mind. But I think there's more than that to becoming a head coach. You've got to be more well-rounded. And I think what is showing from Kevin Stefanski is that he is not a culture setter. It's what the Cleveland Browns is missing right now is someone that could come in and set a culture that would have power in these staff meetings, in these rooms, to be able to communicate with these owners and these general managers. And I know going in that Kevin Stefanski he may be a great guy, but he is not that personality behind the scenes. And right. I would come back and say this about Nick Saban. I'll come back and say this. Just because he failed in Miami doesn't mean that he would fail another time in the NFL. I think, behind the scenes, there was jobs looming that he wanted. Miami has proven that they haven't been the best organization to coaches. Hell, Brian Flores had to get out of there and become the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. He has not mixed any words when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, he's got lawsuits out there for the Miami Dolphins. I honestly don't blame Saban for stepping away. You can look at Bill Belichick. His tenure with the Cleveland Browns was not good. And now he's in the conversation with being one of the greatest coaches of all time
best ever,
in his job. Yeah. So I think Nick Saban, I'm not saying that he would be a great pro coach. I think that remains to be seen. But the question that I would ask you now, if you had to go forward with the Cleveland Browns, would you want Stefanski or would you want Nick Saban? And I'm not saying that's even on the table. I'm not saying but I'm just playing a hypothetical here. Looking at Nick Saban's body of work and who Kevin Stefanski is, if you had a choice today, fellas, who would you choose?
Well, let's see what this season brings, L Train. Yeah. Okay, and Rod, let's see what we do this season. And then at the end of the season, let's say around Christmas time when we're doing the show, then ask us that question again, okay? Because at that time, if we've only won 3 or 4 games, run all their behinds out of Berea, every last one of them. Yep, and take the key with you because we're going to change the locks after you leave. So let's just see what this season brings. Let's see what it brings.
So for me, I would answer the question is this. I would stick with Stefanski. However, the rest of the front office, the GM, and all of that would have to change. Yeah, it would have to change.
I can't argue that. I
think if you give Kevin Stefanski the necessary autonomy that he needs, it's like Bill Parcells said, you got to let me go shop for the food. Okay, and I don't think Kevin really is involved in that. I really don't. And so if you give Kevin because I watched how he was as the coordinator in Minnesota. He knew what he was doing. He has great offensive concepts, okay? Now, the only thing that I question about Kevin Stefanski at times is his in-game decision-making, okay? Because the Browns led the league with going for it on 4th down. They also led the league with failing on 4th down, okay? So that there was no adjustment. There needs to be an adjustment. But I think if Kevin Stefanski gets the necessary backing that he needs and he's just strictly focused on football and not the other nonsense that takes place behind the scenes, I think he can be an outstanding coach. I mean, he's been coach of the year twice, even though one I kind of don't count because he had COVID and he didn't even coach that game. I just don't. I'm sorry, I don't. Oh. That's another conversation, but I don't. It's kind of like when the Lakers won the championship in the bubble. Do you really count that? But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, you count it.
We'll get into that later. Because I got to.
Yeah, I'll oppose you on that one, Hey, remember. Because that was a very scary time. COVID,
I am all about the smoke. I will debate that.
I'll give you the smoke on that one.
I will debate that all day.
I'll give you the smoke on that one, fam. Yeah,
that bubble stuff.
Yeah, but say that one for later.
Yeah.
Say that one for later.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But Rod, the way the NFL is set up now, what coaches do call all the shots now? Back in the days when we were kids, the coaches had all the power.
That's a great
But
question.
hasn't the game changed? Yeah, hasn't the game changed to right now where, it's the general manager and it's other outside influences and it's the owner and the coaches now their hands are kind of, hand strapped when it comes to picking the players and doing everything, calling the plays and, doing everything they want to do. I think the game has kind of changed to where they just don't have the power that they used to.
The game has changed because the owners have now regained power. There was a point where the owner...
And they're micromanaging, too.
They're micromanaging. Like I said, Jerry Jones in Dallas. He got his hand in the pot all the time. And so does, Jimmy Haslam. He's got his hands in the pot all the time. Okay? If you go to basketball, there was one time where Dan Gilbert had his hand in the pot all the time. It wasn't until Dan Gilbert pulled his hand out and let Kobe Altman and those guys do what they do to see how successful they've become. So, yes, times have changed, but Kevin Stefanski is hamstrung right now in Cleveland. There's things he can do and things he can't, and like I said, my mindset when it comes to Andrew Berry is Andrew Berry, I look at it like this. Andrew Berry can draft linemen, offensive and defensive linemen. He has been horrific at quarterback, drafting. He's been horrific at running back, drafting, because Nick Chubb wasn't his pick, okay? Jerome Ford was, okay? So, and then you look at wide receiver. He is absolutely putrid at drafting wide receivers. You got to look at his track record and see that he's very, very smart, but he's not a good talent evaluator. He's just not. Now, that's where I can't blame Stefanski for that. That's not his call. He's the one, he's coaching these guys up. Andrew Berry is the one that's supposed to be grabbing these guys. And this is what he's giving them, so.
Yeah. Last question, fellas, on this topic. I want to fast forward to like week 8. And I know there's a lot of variables into it, but who's the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns week 8 of this season? You got all the options out there. Week 8, you can fast forward. I know there's variables to this, but if you trust your gut, if you had to look deep inside of where you feel like this thing is going with the Cleveland Browns, who's under center week 8?
I hope it's Shedeur. Okay, I hope it's Shedeur. However, if it's not, and it's still Flacco, that must be, hey, we're 7-1, or 6-2, or 8-0. And I would be good with that, I would be good with that,
Do you think it's going to be Shedeur, or T, are you hoping that it's Shedeur? Like, who do you think is going to be?
Well, the way Rod's talking, ain't no telling who it's going to be. The way Rod's talking, it won't be Shedeur.
Bailey
The way
Zappi.
he's talking, it won't be.
You pulling out the Zappy. Hot Rod.
Yeah.
What I think will probably happen is this. One of those two veteran quarterbacks won't be on the team. So whoever wins the starting position, that other quarterback will be dealt. And I think they want to deal Flacco. They're hoping Flacco falls on his face. Okay? But Joe has already came out, and Joe said he's not going to be a backup. So he answered, he was talking to Aditi Kinkawala this week, and he said he's not a backup. He didn't come back to Cleveland to be a backup. So whoever wins that job, that second veteran is going to be gone. Because Kenny Pickett,
he'll end up in Minnesota with L-Train.
So.
He'll end up in Minnesota with him.
Kenny Pickett doesn't want to be a backup, and neither does Joe Flacco. So whoever wins that starting spot, that other quarterback is gone, which would alleviate their major situation, which is the rookies. Because if you get rid of one of the veterans, you can keep both those rookies, okay? Now, you can see either Pickett or Flacco and the two rookies starting the season. Who will be under center game 8? Shedeur. I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Shedeur will be under center at game 8 because Joe is 40 years old and he's one hit from retirement. Dylan Gabriel, like I said, they would have to change their entire offense for Dylan Gabriel because he's a shotgun quarterback. Why? Because he's 5'0". That's why he's a shotgun quarterback. They're not going to put him up under center. He will get killed if he is up under center. So they have to go shotgun. Kevin Stefanski cannot run his offense out of the shotgun. So Game 8, if it breaks down the way I believe it will, Shedeur Sanders will be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I've got a 1,000% agree with Hot Rod. I think it's going to be Shedeur, and I think here's how it's going to play out. I'm watching Minnesota Vikings training camp up here, and Sam Howell is not looking good. There are some concerns that we don't have a legitimate number 2. Brett Rippon, our third string guy, is not that guy. So I think when it's all said and done up here in Minnesota, I think we are going to be fishing for a number 2 quarterback, and I don't think it's going to be Joe Flacco. If Joe Flacco does not want to be a backup and he does not fit KOC's system up here, it's why the Minnesota Vikings did not go after him in the first place. I think Kenny Pickett would be a viable option for the Minnesota Vikings. I could see him getting traded and really into that role. And here's why I think Shedeur, I don't think it's going to be a situation where if everything stays the same, that Shedeur on his merit is going to be able to beat out those guys, because I think there are some people behind the scenes right now that don't want to see him win. And that's not saying that he's not going to perform, because I think the cream is going to rise to the top. And I expect that Shedeur is going to have a really good preseason. And the optics are going to show that he is in the conversation to be the number 1 quarterback. I think I think Joe Flacco is a good veteran, but I think he's fool's gold. I think the Cleveland Browns, I think they missed their window with Joe Flacco. I think people are expecting the Joe Flacco magic that he showed a couple years ago. This team is completely different.
Absolutely.
The running game is completely different.
Yeah.
So those things are going to affect Joe Flacco and how he plays, and I just don't think we're going to see the same Joe Flacco. I don't think Kenny Pickett is good enough, and I don't think Dylan Gabriel is good enough. Therein lies why Shedeur, week 8, will be under center for the Cleveland Browns. And I think the Browns are going to be in a situation, in a tough division, where they're going to have to make a choice. And I think they're going to be close enough where if they make the right decision with Shedeur, they could make a run to possibly be in the conversation for the playoffs. So that's why I think Shedeur Sanders will be under center week 8, man. I just think the Joe Flacco that we want to see doesn't have the same situation that he had a couple of years ago, man. I just think the Cleveland Browns just missed that window, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
I agree.
Word coming out of Dallas, man. Micah Parsons wants to be Trey. Jerry Jones is at it again. The Dallas Cowboys, man, is the noisiest organization I have ever seen. And there's always something. Someone always wants money. Last time it was CeeDee Lamb. And here's the thing, fellas. Jerry Jones always ends up paying these guys. You know, they hold out. All this stuff goes through the media. And I think that the same situation is going to happen with Micah Parsons. What's your thoughts on the situation in Dallas and the whole deal with Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons?
Let me go first, Rod. The Dallas Cowboys is just like the old show Dallas, okay? It's all about entertainment. It's all about entertainment. There's a reason why the Dallas Cowboys are the richest franchise in all of sports. They're worth more than the Yankees. They're worth more than the Boston Celtics, more than the Red Sox, more than the Dodgers, okay? And there's a reason why. Because, again, it's all about entertainment, and Jerry is going to do it his way, okay? Jerry's going to do it his way. I was listening to Fox Sports the other day. Some of the guys on Fox Sports say, hey, don't pay him, let him go. There's a couple other pieces that you can pay. Let him go because, again, you know, Micah Parsons with his podcast and his brand and everything else, let him go because if he ends up in Tennessee, he won't be that big Micah Parsons anymore down there in Tennessee. He's a brand because he's with the Cowboys. Let him go and pay somebody else. But, you know, Jerry's going to do it his way because Jerry said this morning on Sports Center, we're not going to trade him. And what is Jerry going to do? Pay him the day before game one, just like he did Dak a couple years ago last year. He's going to do the same thing. So, again, Jerry, it's all about entertainment. It's all about his way. Again, he's already told all of us, no one can do it like him. And that's his team. That's his toy. So Jerry's going to do it his way. He's an entertainer.
I absolutely 1,000% agree. This is nothing but, you know, Micah Parsons, and it's been a history of, like we said before the show, it's a history of players in Dallas who they complain, and then eventually they get paid. You know what I mean?
Emmett did it. Emmett Smith did it, remember?
Yeah,
Sat out for a couple games.
It's gonna happen. Okay, it's going to happen, and so they're not going to trade Micah Parsons. He's the best player defensively and could arguably be called the best player on the Dallas Cowboys. They're not going to trade. They're not going to trade.
Player on their team.
Okay, so right now they just going through all the hoopla, blah blah, and I do agree with T. About 2 or 3 games. He'll probably sit out a couple preseason games because he ain't trying to play anyway. And, because he's an athlete, he's not going to do all that. He'll sit out. And then, like, right before their first game of the year, Micah Parsons signs for $50 trillion. And then he'll be on the field.
That was going to happen,
so that's how it always happens, man. That's how it always happens. So, shout out to Micah Parsons. Get your bag, bruh. Because he also looked at it, and I know what Jerry is doing. Of course, you got TJ who got paid. You got Myles Garrett who got paid. You got these guys who got paid, and so they're trying to see where he fits. Where he fits in the brass scheme of that. You're looking at he'll be a excess of $25 to $35 million a year. So Jerry's gonna spend that money. Now, will that get them over the Commanders? Will that get them over the Philadelphia Eagles?
No. Nope.
Still not going to win.
No.
So, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, yep.
You got another piece of news coming out, and, we're just going to detour a little bit away from the NFL, and let's talk about Luka Doncic for the Lakers just signed an extension there. Mm-hmm. I think it directly affects Cleveland because now you've got them taking care of Luka and not necessarily taking care of LeBron James. So when LeBron becomes unhappy, I should say, there's always those rumors about where LeBron could go, where he could end up, and the talk, fellas, is that he might make a return to the Cleveland Cavaliers if that is possible. He wouldn't be against that. Thoughts on Luka's extension, first of all, and then the possibility of the return of King James.
I'm going to speak real quick on Luka's extension because Rod has a plan of how LeBron can come back.
I can't wait to hear the plan.
Okay?
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, Rod's got a plan. But anyway, Luka was on the front of, what was that, Men's Health magazine?
Looking good.
He got his, looking real good.
And
shirt off and everything. Oh, he's ready. Looking good. Signed the money. And he's ready to go. And you know what? Hey, we're almost, we're at the beginning of August. October will be here before you know it. Because remember, there's always that time in October where you still got baseball going on. You got the NFL, you got the NBA, and hockey. So, hey, fall is in the air. It was 76 degrees this morning here in Virginia. Fall is in the air. October's right around the corner. Luka's looking good. Hey, it's not about LeBron anymore, but my partner right there who brings the smoke, he's got a plan, or he knows how we can get LeBron back to the 2.
So let me address Luka. Luka signed for 3 years at 165. Yes, he does look fantastic, and one of the knocks that was on him was that he was out of shape. And so he does look good, and he getting everything set up. Now, what does this mean for LBJ? So is there a way that the Cavaliers could swing him back home for his farewell tour? Yes. So right now, the Cavaliers are in the second tier of the luxury tax. So they cannot trade multiple players for one player. It's got to be one-on-one, salary for salary. So as of right now, the Cavaliers cannot do that. The only way that this can happen, and they have to do this before the season starts. They cannot do it during the season. Because once they're in the cap, and some of my capologists out there will probably correct me, there's a certain time before in the cap, there's a date that they have to make this happen if they're going to do it. Okay? After that specific date, they can't do it. But here is the way they can try to. Dean Wade is a player that if they got rid of him, traded him, however, that would take the Cavaliers out of the second tier. Okay? Now that information came from Jason Lloyd out of The Athletic. If he were to be traded, the Cavaliers would come out of that second tier. Okay.
So would you need a third team for that, Rod? Would you need another team?
If you pull Dean Wade out of the second tier, now you can trade 2 for 1. So in that 2 for 1 trade, they could trade Jared Allen and Darius Garland for LeBron James and Bronny James. Okay? They could do that. All right? Another way that they could possibly do that during the season, but that would be the Lakers would have to buy LeBron out. If the Lakers bought him out, then now he is a free agent and can go anywhere he wants. But the Lakers just signed him to that deal. He opted in to his player option.
Opted in.
The Lakers are not going to bail him out, okay? They're not going to bail him out. And see, it's unprecedented because...
And I don't blame him. Part of me doesn't blame him from a money and a management standpoint.
Because this is the first time that LeBron has ever opted in on a player option. He's never opted in on a player option. So this is his first time doing that. Well, he did that because he knew that the Lakers weren't going. Yeah, they're limited. He's not an unintelligent young man. He isn't. Okay. So if the Cavaliers want him to come back, he either has to be bought out by the Lakers, okay, and or he has to, to be bought out by the Lakers, or they have to try to get rid of Dean Wade, get up under the second tier, and make that trade. Because I'm going to be honest with you right now, from what I have heard, the Cavaliers are not really happy with Darius Garland right now.
No, I've heard the same thing.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah, they're not really happy with him right now.
Yeah.
Because it's not a basketball thing. It's a maturity thing. They're still concerned about him from a maturity level.
He's got that Baker Mayfield thing going on, man, where he's not. They want an adult in the room.
Yeah, and so that's why you go and you shoot the flyer on Lonzo Ball, because Lonzo is a low risk, high reward. Because if he can't play, okay, you got him for a year. That was like Ty Jerome sat that 1 year. It didn't really hurt you. You let him go. I shout out to Luka. Go get the bag. He getting ready to do his thing. I still think you've spent you got $163 million in Luka and you got $50 million in LeBron. They went and got DeAndre Ayton. That doesn't really move the needle at all. It's about the surrounding pieces around them. Okay. So, do I see LeBron coming back this season? No. Do I see him coming back next season? Yes.
Yeah, I think you got to figure out. I think
you
got to figure out with LeBron James, man, when you talk about moving pieces from the Cleveland Cavaliers for LeBron James, like I am not 100% against that, because I think if it really equated into a championship, I think that's the goal. But you really got to understand, especially if you're not looking at it from this year and you're looking at it for the following year, I think you got to figure out what sort of rental LeBron James would be. Is it a 1 year thing? Is it a 2 year thing? I think the more years you can get out of LeBron James, the better that trade will be. I know that there are a lot of people that are disgruntled with Darius Garland, but he is a young piece. He is a foundational piece of your franchise, even though he doesn't show up for games. He in terms of playoff games, he hasn't really performed. Like, I don't see you giving up that talent. I don't know how smart that is, giving up that talent for a 1 year rental in LeBron James. So it is a risk.
Yeah,
it is a risk. Even though it's LBJ, and LBJ can still play, man. He's not the LeBron James from 10 years ago, but he's a force multiplier. He makes everybody on the floor better with him out there, and he's still individually producing himself. But those are the conversations that, if they entertain that with LeBron James, they are going to have some deep conversations in terms of where this organization is going if they give up some of those foundational pieces.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. We've got a new segment. Last week, man, we put out there T's Boot Camp. That was a hot segment of the show. Got some feedback on that. People like that. This week, we are pulling back the veil. We are unveiling Coach Young's two-a-days. Those of you that have played any type of sports, you know how hard two-a-days is. Well, Hot Rod is going to put some franchises, some athletes through some two-a-days, and I can't wait to hear who he has on his list this week. So, Coach Young, who do you got coming to two-a-days, man?
So, who do I have coming to two-a-days? Let's see. let's talk about the Cleveland Guardians.
Oh.
The Cleveland Guardians are going to come to two-a-days. You know why? Because they have now developed into one of the most dysfunctional organizations in Major League Baseball. Okay?
Preach, Rod. Preach.
So right now, you have not the best closer in the game, but then your best reliever in the game. Both are now under investigation for throwing pitches and gambling. Okay? Not one, but two. And then Major League Baseball has come back and they said, well, there are no more. However, where there are two birds of a feather flock together. So there's somebody else in that clubhouse that's been throwing around a little bit of money. Okay? On top of that, the Guardians just traded their best pitcher in Shane Bieber. They traded him to the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, I don't know why we think that there's anything in Toronto worth having, but we went on ahead and we sent Shane Bieber, okay? They talked about trading away Stephen Kwan. They did not do that, okay? They kept Kwan, all right? Yeah. But guess
not
what?
Yet, at least.
They're going to lose Stephen Kwan after this season because he's going to become a free agent. Here's the thing about the Cleveland, let's go back to the Indians/Guardians, okay? It is the Dolan family. The Dolans are the cheapest group of people, okay, on the planet Earth, okay? They don't spend money. Why is Frankie Lindor in New York in New York? Frankie Lindor is in New York because we could not pay him, okay?
Tell us how you really feel, Hot Rod.
I'm just saying right now, hey, we talking two-a-days, baby. Blow the whistle on that. Okay? Come on now. We are losing great players because we can't pay them. We are a upper level farm system for Major League Baseball. I could go down a list of how many players have been in Cleveland that have ended up somewhere else and turned into a Cy Young Award winner, an absolute superstar, and a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Happens all the time.
They got rid of Jim Thome. Jim Thome just walked in the Hall of Fame, guys. Okay? CC Sabathia walked into the Hall of Fame, guys. He was a Cleveland Indian or Guardian. Okay? So let's talk about it. You understand what I'm saying? So, but just this particular situation right now, and the Indians are wallowing in the Central Division because right now the Detroit Tigers are the best team in Major League Baseball, period. Okay? Can the Guardians make the wild card? There's a possibility outside. But other than Jose Ramirez, and maybe Stephen Kwan, I have no confidence in anybody. None. Okay? This Guardians team reminds me of when I was growing up as a kid and the Cleveland Indians was playing in Old Municipal Stadium. They were terrible. I'm talking Toby Harrah.
Yeah, they were.
Mike Hargrove, Joe Carter, okay?
Julio Franco,
Tony Bernazard. Yeah, okay? So for all my Cleveland people who don't think I know about Cleveland sports, I do. I lived it. So yes, those two-a-days, it's time for y'all to go back, blow the whistle right now. It's over. Y'all need to stop, okay? And y'all need to go ahead and retool. Now, hopefully the Dolans will get up out of there. If the Dolans can get up out of there and start spending a little bit of money, then the Guardians might be okay. And think about it. Jose Ramirez took a discount. Jose Ramirez should be somewhere else.
With us. My man J. Ram.
Jose Ramirez should be somewhere else. That dude is an absolute dog, and he should be somewhere else. But he likes Cleveland. He's comfortable in Cleveland. He's comfortable as a Guardian. He's comfortable in the clubhouse. It's quiet. Okay, he goes and he hits for 30 and steals for 50, goes to the All-Star game, and he's okay about it. Okay, but yes, that is my two-a-days. My two-a-days is the Cleveland Guardians. Start all over, blow the whistle. It is over. Stop it. You guys are terrible.
Rod's two-a-days, man. That is exactly what we wanted to get out of that segment. Those of you be aware. You better get your stuff together or you may end up in Hot Rod's two-a-days. Great job. You might be next.
Might be next.
Great job, Hot Rod. Hey, listen, I got a little segment for myself. I just want to kind of test this out today. So I want to test out the knowledge of my man T. I want to test out the knowledge of my man Hot Rod when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Now, listen, this is the mystery Cleveland Browns segment. What I'm going to do is give you clues about a past or present Cleveland Brown member. And if you guys know the Browns, like I think you know the Browns, this shouldn't take you too long to figure out. But I'm going to make it hard on you. We're going to see. So as I go through my list of clues of who the mystery Cleveland Brown person is, the minute you feel like you know who this person is, just go ahead, shout it out. People that are on TikTok, don't cheat. Don't look it up on your computers. Try to, don't give Rod the answer. Try to figure it out on your own. You guys ready for this?
If I'd have known you was going to do this, I'd have called my brother.
This is the first clue of the mystery Cleveland Brown. This Cleveland Brown was drafted in the 4th round in 1984.
4th round, 1984.
Yep. He was born in that state up north, but played college football out east.
Leroy Horde?
Nope, not Leroy.
No, not Horde. No, because that's wrong time. Okay. Up north. Okay.
Next one. His NFL career spanned parts of 3 decades.
Oh, jeez. That's a tough one, L. Okay. All right, L, I see you.
Reggie Rucker.
The clues are going to get easier as we go. They'll get easier as we go. He stood 6 feet tall and weighed under 180 pounds.
Give me the year again. 84?
1984, he was drafted. 4th round. Next one. Here's a good clue. This narrows it down a bit. He played in 3 AFC championship games with the Cleveland Browns.
I got guys running through my head, but I'm like 84.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
84.
Offense or defense?
The next clue, he finished his career with over 4,000 receiving yards.
Reggie Langhorne? Webster Slaughter?
Wait a minute. Okay.
This might get it right here. Might get
Dave Logan?
He caught the go-ahead touchdown pass in the fumble game versus the Denver Broncos.
Brian Brennan.
Mm-hmm. See, what I was waiting for him to say, because I had Brian Brennan on my mind, but if he'd said he came out of Boston College, then I would have guessed Brian Brennan. Yeah. He went to Boston College. Wow. I didn't know he was a Michigan. He came from Michigan.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I knew it had.
And he was nice too, man. Yeah. He was nice. Yeah, he was
nice
too.
Hey, man, to go back to that last clue, when he caught that touchdown pass against the Denver Broncos, man, I thought it was over.
We were Super Bowl bound.
I thought it was over. Browns going. That's as close to the Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns as we could have gotten, man. I
can still remember the play, L Train. I can still picture it in my mind when he caught that pass.
I'm glad I did not know that one. I thought Slaughter. I knew Slaughter, Langhorne. Think about that wide receiver crew: Slaughter, Langhorne, Brian Brennan, Ozzie Newsome. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Okay.
Yeah. There was a guy that your dad used to like back in the day, L Train. Dave Logan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's in the media. Yeah, I think he's in the media with Denver now. Yeah, I think he's part of
All right, you got
Denver's
us with that one. You got another one? Come on.
You did.
Hey, I'll pull
another one out there,
I'll
pull
them out every now and then. We got to get to start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. I'm pulling out this week for start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. Rebounding enforcers of the NBA. Rebounding enforcers of the NBA.
I think I
got to step my game up, man, because UNT are bringing it every week with these start one, bench one, cut one, erase one, man. So I got to, bring. All right, so here it is.
Let's go.
First one is Rasheed Wallace.
Okay.
Rasheed Wallace. My next one is Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace. And again, I'm talking about rebounding and enforcing on the court.
Okay.
My next one, Dennis Rodman. And then my last one is Mr. Draymond Green. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. Talking about the toughness, talking about the willingness to rebound. Like you're the guy when something breaks out on the floor, you are that dude. You're in the middle of the scrum.
You got it.
Let me go, Rod. Let me go. This is kind of easy, L Train. It's kind of easy. I expected more from you, sir. Expected more from you. I expected more out of you, Coach.
All right, let's
Coach,
go.
I expected
Let's go.
more. Let me go.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
go.
yes.
I'm going to start Dennis Rodman. I'm going to bench Draymond. I'm going to bench Draymond. I'm going to cut Ben Wallace, and I'm going to erase Rasheed
Wow.
Wallace.
Okay.
Erase Rasheed.
Hey.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
On the surface, it may
That's
seem
mine.
calm.
Okay.
I'm standing on it.
It may seem calm,
Standing
but
on
underneath there's turbulent waters, T.
Wow. All right. So I'm going to start Ben Wallace. I'm going to bench Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
I'm going to cut Rasheed, and I am going to erase Draymond.
Oh,
You stand on yours, but I can't stand on mine?
You're saying Draymond. I'm
saying, I'm sorry. I didn't know I needed to explain. Do I need to explain?
Right. But before you explain, man, have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? Like if you get rid of Draymond, you're erasing Draymond. So the ripple effect, I don't think the Golden State Warriors win those rings without Draymond. So you are erasing a dynasty.
Hold it. I didn't say it wasn't a tough choice. I never said that. I didn't say. Did you hear me say that this was?
T said
it was easy. Did you hear me say that? I didn't say it was easy. Do you think I wanted to erase Draymond? But I got to look at it from this aspect. If anything, if I did make a change, I would erase Rasheed. Okay. I would switch Draymond and erase Rasheed. So I would start Ben Wallace. I would bench Dennis Rodman. I would cut Draymond, and I would erase Rasheed. Here's why. Ben Wallace was the reason that there was the malice in the palace.
That's a good point.
You can't forget that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay? He was the reason.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace on that Detroit Pistons team that had Rasheed Wallace was the enforcer on that Pistons championship team. So you can't take that away. Now, with the worm just got his nose into things. That's what the worm did. Worm got his nose into stuff. He was an antagonist.
Worm was great.
Okay? An enforcer, I would never call Dennis Rodman an enforcer. That's why I said this wasn't easy. Okay? But you're talking about a rebounding enforcer. Yes. When things jumped off, Dennis Rodman was in the middle of it. Dennis Rodman was an antagonist. Ben Wallace was an enforcer. Okay? You have to understand, when I think of enforcer, I think of people like Rick Mahorn. I think of people like Lonnie Shelton when he played for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah.
I think of Buck Williams. Those were enforcers, bruh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay? So what I'm saying is I'm looking at Ben Wallace, Dennis Rodman, then we can say Draymond if you got, because my thing is this, when you come from the term enforcer, I don't look at Draymond Green as an enforcer. I look at Draymond Green as an antagonist. That's why I say him and Dennis Rodman are in that same realm. They're antagonists. An enforcer is the one that's going to point at you when you come down and you lay the ball up, and he going to tell you, you come down here again, young fella, I'm going to hit you in the mouth. And you knew that was going to happen. Okay? I watched Rick Mahorn and Charles Barkley in Philadelphia absolutely destroy Mark Price. They destroyed him. Okay? That's enforcer to me. Rodman and Draymond are antagonists. That's what they are. Okay. Rasheed, I don't even put Rasheed in this category. Rasheed, not saying that Rasheed is not a tough guy. Rasheed is a tough guy. But once again, is Rasheed going to punch somebody in the mouth that's driving down the lane? No. Even when he was in Detroit, like I said, Detroit,
no.
Ben Wallace was the enforcer. While Rasheed was in Portland with the Portland quote-unquote Trailblazers. He wasn't the enforcer on that team. He wasn't. So I get where L Train was going with this. But see, for me, when I think of enforcer, I think of a dude that you absolutely are petrified to go at. Xavier McDaniel. That's another one.
Gotcha.
That's an enforcer.
Yeah,
Charles
X-Man,
Oakley.
Yeah.
That's an enforcer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking
Oakley.
about is enforcer.
Right,
you understand what I'm saying? We got
okay. I take back what I said about you, Rod. I take it back.
We got an enforcer. We got out of the four, we got one true enforcer and three antagonists. That to me, that's different. That's just me.
Great point. I think my pushback would be this. It kind of all depends on your perspective and what your definition is of an enforcer. Like, I think all four of these guys are enforcers because that's the way their teammates view them. Like, when stuff goes down, I think the Golden State Warriors look to Draymond to be there. The same way with Dennis Rodman with the Chicago Bulls. It wasn't going to be Jordan. It wasn't going to be Scottie Pippen. It wasn't going to be Paxson. It was going to be Dennis Rodman. You know, absolutely.
Like in hockey, that goon.
Yeah,
every team has that goon.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
that goon.
For my start one, bench one, cut one, erase one, I start with, guys, you know me, man. I'm always going to value, number one, what the whole start one, bench one, cut one is all about, enforcement, and then along with what was the byproduct of this? So Draymond Green would be the one that I would start.
Okay.
Because he's got the rings and he's got more suspensions than anybody on the planet. Every other week, Draymond is getting suspended for something, putting people in headlocks, punching his teammate in practice. I mean, he's always doing something. So I'm going to go Draymond Green as a start.
Yeah.
I am going to bench Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was a part of a great dynasty, and I believe that he was that tough guy on that Chicago Bulls team. I remember in Minnesota when he came here, I was at that game where he kicked the cameraman on the sideline when he fell asleep.
That's right. It was in Minnesota.
I was at that game,
where
he did that.
Okay, yeah.
Then you've got cut one, Ben Wallace. I would cut Ben Wallace. And then in terms of a race, because it really doesn't affect anything else as much, I would erase Rasheed Wallace. That is my start one, bench one, cut one, erase one.
Gotcha.
It's hard keeping up with you guys, T. Hey, listen, man, I am willing to admit that compared to what you and Hot Rod brought the last 2 weeks, this was kind of weak, but I'm going to continue to work on it and bring it, man. I
You're good, L Train. You're good, L Train. After Rod broke it down and broke out the Webster's dictionary and everything, you good.
I felt like I had to justify my stance. I felt ganged upon that I put Draymond out. I felt ganged up on, so I had to explain myself. But T was the one that said it was easy, L Train. He said he expected more. That was him. That wasn't me, bruh.
Hey, long as y'all keep bringing it every week, man, I'm good. Let's get to our parting shots for this week, and then we'll get out of here. Who wants to go first? Doesn't matter to me.
Let me go first. I got a couple. First of all, Eric Allen went into the Hall of Fame yesterday. That's been my guy for the longest. When it comes to football, I have always been a fan of the cornerback position, okay? And I always felt that he was so underrated. You know, we always talked about Dion and Aeneas Williams and some others, but you always forgot about EA, number 21, up there in Philly, and that little short stint he did with the Saints and how he closed out his career with the Oakland Raiders. I've always been a fan of Eric Allen, and I was glad to see him don the gold jacket. Again, like I say, the cornerback position. I love Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon from our dog pound. Those guys, hey, they played it too. They were shut down corners as well too. But congrats to EA for going into the Hall. And one other sport, I saw a young lady this morning. Let me make sure I pronounce her name correct. Riley Schaff. She's 15. She's from Maine, and she won the cornhole championship. Okay, and I love to see our people in spaces where you often don't see them. Okay, and this young lady, she goes to school online, and then she says, "Hey, I have 4 or 5 hours out of each day just to toss the bag, and I love it," and she's the champ. So good for her. Again, her name is Riley Schaff. She's age 15. She's from the state of Maine, and she's the cornhole champion on the women's side. So good for her. And
all right, so for me, I got a couple real quick. Number one, I'm going to piggyback off of T. I want to give my shout out to Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp went into the Hall of Fame. Well-deserved, long overdue. I think Sterling Sharp should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. He led the league in receiving. If he wouldn't have gotten injured, I think him and Jerry Rice would have been neck and neck. Because Sterling Sharp was that good. Everybody thinks Shannon was good. Shannon was good.
He was.
But Sterling was better. Okay? So shout out to Sterling Sharp. Congratulations for getting into the Hall of Fame. I also would like to send prayers and a shout out to Shedeur Sanders. Deion Sanders came out this week and he announced that he had bladder cancer during the draft. And he didn't announce it to anybody. He didn't let anybody know, but he actually had his bladder removed. And, with medical science is ridiculous because I had never heard of that procedure before. And so he is, now recovering. He's going to be back on the sideline, and just send prayers to him because he has had some major health issues since retiring from football. He said it at his press conference that he's had more surgeries after football than he did during his playing days. So, and you got to think, other than Bo Jackson, you can arguably say that Deion Sanders was one of the greatest athletes in American sports. Okay? Yeah.
Bobby Bowden said he was the best football player he's ever seen. Bobby Bowden said it.
Shout out to him for just his perseverance and his press. So send our prayers and get well soon, Coach, and keep pushing.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of Rod because that was my parting shot as well, Deion Sanders, and I'll even go a little bit further. If you guys haven't watched, he's got his own media production crew where his son is kind of in charge of that. I don't know how many people had the opportunity to go on YouTube or wherever this platform is shown and be able to watch the process in terms of him getting that surgery, all the emotions that went through with that. His medical team is absolutely fantastic. And he's obviously become close to his medical team because he has had some other health issues down the road. But what was remarkable about Deion Sanders is that his faith is super strong.
Yes.
And so it just seems to me no matter what he has to face, because his faith is strong. Rod, you used the word persevere. He is always persevering. And I thought it was remarkable because, he has shown multiple times how good of a family man he is. Even if you want to criticize him about being over the top, I mean, he loves his family. He loves his boys, man. He just loves everybody in his family. And as soon as he came out the surgery, he wanted to know how his boys were doing in their OTAs and mini camps and stuff like that. So that's the first thing he did when he got on the phone. So prayers for Deion, one of the best athletes that I have ever seen. There was that one time, didn't he get like a touchdown, an interception, and then hit a home run all in the same day?
Yes. Yeah, he did
when he was playing baseball. Man. Just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal person, man. Phenomenal athlete. And just prayers up to Deion. That's my parting shot as well.
Absolutely. Prayers,
there you go.
Prayers to Coach Prime. Yes, sir.
There you go.
Well, thank everyone for tuning in. My people on TikTok. Rod, thanks for setting that up for 3 the Hard Way, man. We're just going to continue to grow this thing. We'll be back next week with some more hot topics. This thing is growing by leaps and bounds. So continue to hit that like and subscribe button. Keep us in the algorithm and we'll keep pumping out that content that everyone likes to hear. So for T, from my guy Hot Rod, this is Lionel Jones, and we will see ya when we see ya on 3 the Hard Way. Y'all be blessed. Have a good Sunday.
Y'all be blessed, brothers. All right.